Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Denver Bronco Roundup. Of course, we're here with Albert, myself, Keith, and Jody the Judge Moncrief. I'm here down here live from Dove Valley. Been attending training camp every single day. We've been breaking it down every single night, and we appreciate you guys joining us. Welcome everybody in. Like I said, the Denver Bronco Roundup. We're brought to you by the Rocky Mountain Sports Network and sponsored by Willow Seasonings and Blends. Guys, it's been a crazy day down here, all the way across the board, man. From the weather to, like I said right before we got on, getting out of training camp, taking a little bit of time, getting some affairs in order, and then turning on social media, turning on the radio, and hearing everything that was hit the airwaves, I guess is the best way to hit it. We were just removed from Tim Patrick being injured, but everything was about Russell Wilson today, so we're going to have to talk a little bit about that today. Got a chance to talk to Justin Simmons and ask him just one question today after training camp. I'll get to that one question and his answer. And then, of course, everything that you guys have. We have lots of stuff that we could go over from training camp, but I want to get to your guys' questions and your comments. We'll also have a little special guest that'll be dropping in here in a little bit, so I'll leave that a secret as well as that question that I asked Justin Simmons. And we'll get right to the comments just real quick, guys, and then let you guys welcome in Denver Bronco Roundup Country. I got David Slade coming in here and saying, "Let's go, fellas." Welcome, Dave. Let's go to you. And we got Michael Ronquillo already jumping in saying, "Good evening, Keith, Jody, and Albert." So, good evening, Michael. Great to see you as well. So, Albert, start with you, buddy. How you doing? How's your day, man? It's been just about 24 hours since I talked to you last.
Ja, goedenavond allemaal. That's Dutch for good evening, everybody. Yeah, just to
Always needing a translator when Albert's around, man.
no, I can be my own translator, so that's good. Yeah, I'm doing very good. A good day today. So yeah, and some good news and some bad news. So Bronco World, we are ready for a surprise again.
Very good, buddy. The judge, he's been being judgy as of lately, but and that's all good, man. That's what we love him for, bringing down the ruling on a lot of different people. But how you doing tonight, buddy? 24 hours. We're back here again.
All good. Just excited with the progress we're seeing. Just take it with a grain of salt. This is day 4 of training camp.
Yeah, we'll get into that. It's only day 4. Day 6 officially. Sean Payton decided to start training camp before he allowed anybody in. I got a couple days into that, so 6 days in officially, 4 days open to the public. We got the great Michelle Knoppers coming in here saying, "Evening, gents, exciting times for sure." It is exciting times. Got to keep that in mind. You know, especially with all the Debbie Downers that we had out there today in the media, and like I said, we'll get to that. It's exciting times, man. We got the top coach that we everybody wanted, and we brought him in. We spent the most amount of money in free agency, and there's a lot of reasons to be excited. So appreciate you keeping some perspectives for us, Michelle, because we need to stay excited. And Matt Staffiero jumping in here saying, "What's up, gentlemen?" So what's up to you, Matt? Glad you could join in here and be part of the conversation maybe as well. So, my oldest child is a huge Taylor Swift fan, and I was kind of reminded of this. Bear with me. I know this is a long stretch, but she recently was here in Denver. She sold out 2 consecutive nights, and one of her big hits that she ever had a nice little chorus that's went, "You need to calm down." And I think that's about where we're at across the board. All right. Uh oh. We need to calm down. All right. We're only 4 days in or 6 days, depending upon how you want to count it. And for those of you who haven't been there or who aren't watching, and I'm calling out some of those people in the media booth who are more more hobnobbing and rubbing elbows than they are watching actual footage on the field. There's reasons why some of the things are happening on the field, and y'all just need to calm down. All right. So that's my statement. That's my overarching statement, I think, for our show tonight, guys. There's reasons for concern, but there's also time, and you need to calm down. So I just want to get to a few more comments real quick. Matt Staffiero saying, the Wilson Whaler is here and accounted for, graduated from the Lock Flogger. And for those of you who don't know, that's exactly his. That was Matt's nickname, was the Lock Flogger back in the day, in the 4th and 99 days, and now he's in here. He's ready to give Wilson the business, I guess is the best way to put it. Good evening, guys. I feel pretty bad about Tim Patrick. That's coming in from Roy. Yeah, Roy, I was just I don't know, maybe 30, 40 yards away from where it happened. So to see him go down and to have it happen almost a year to the date was really disappointing. And David Slade saying same thing that they said last year. And I'm not sure exactly what that's in reference to, either me or the social media or all the media. But yeah, I still think you need to calm down. I think that's what you're talking about, Dave. Just need to calm down. It's all right, buddy. I think the reason, and I want to get to you guys a little bit on all of this as well. The reason I feel okay is because we're in a completely different space with our coach. Just that alone makes me feel good that I can say, just calm down. We all need to calm down. All right, Jody, I don't even know if I even gave you a full welcome in. I think I did. Yeah, I gave you the full welcome in. But I'm going to go back around. I'm going to start with you, buddy, and let you go off maybe on the Wilson Whaler, a.k.a. the Lock Flogger, or anybody else that really went after Russell Wilson today. What are your thoughts, buddy?
I'll keep it simple tonight. I'm not going down those rabbit holes with
That's
Russ,
fair, man.
Russ played bad. Russ did this. When Russ does something great, he's supposed to do that. When he does something bad, we tear him apart. I'm not doing that tonight. I listened to a good piece today from Alfred Williams, and he said if you want to get serious and in depth and get down to it, John Elway, a Hall of Fame quarterback, go look at his numbers in '97 and '98. What he did. Was he still feared? Could he throw the ball deep? Could he move? Yes. But he didn't put up giant numbers. And why? Because they had Terrell Davis and they ran the ball first, and they didn't need Elway to carry this team. That's what Russell Wilson needs to do this year. He doesn't need to be – if you're expecting Patrick Mahomes, then you're going to be disappointed. That's a unicorn, and that's it. 4 quarterbacks last year, that's it, had more than 30 touchdowns. So we weren't seeing huge, giant, enormous numbers from quarterbacks. You need an efficient Russell Wilson, and that's what you got with John Elway the last 2 years. And same with Manning. When Manning came back from his injury in 15, he wasn't lighting up the scoreboard, but he was efficient. 2 touchdowns in the AFC Championship game and did what he needed to do. You lean on this defense and the run game and let Russ make big plays when he needs to. And if you're in practice and Russ checks down every play, you're not getting better. Russ is trying to see what receivers are going to fight for the ball and go get the ball, who he can depend on, and he's working on things. Alfred Williams pointed out something too. A guy that threw a lot of interceptions in training camp, Peyton Manning. And why? Because he was working on things, getting the ball downfield, seeing what works, what doesn't work, working to get it to work. And if you only work on things that you're good at, you're not going to improve the things you're bad at. So we need to wait and see what happens here. But I'm going to go with someone that knew right after this season was over that he was overweight. And we're talking within a month, you could tell he'd already transformed his body, and he knew what he needed to do, and he's put the work in, and that's somebody that I think can carry this team.
That's fair, buddy. I appreciate um, not getting drawn in. It's tough. It's tough when maybe you see things different. Maybe you have a different opinion, and that's not aligning with what we're told should be the narrative. And and I think that's a lot of what we're seeing and hearing is we're being told what the narrative should be. Like again, being out there, and I'll just give a great example. Sean Payton brought it up. They were running a lot of 9-on-7s today. 9-on-7s means the defense knows exactly what's coming. So when,
Exactly.
so when you know when when the media is out there saying the offensive line is struggling and the defense is always in the backfield, well, yes, because a lot of these times the entire script of the day says we're going to do running plays for the first 5 plays, and then we're going to transition over to some passing plays. Well, boy, if I could get Kansas City to roll out and tell me they're going to do 5 running plays to start, and then they're going to transition to the running game, I think our defense is going to look pretty good every single time. So it's all perspective sometimes. Albert,
And you brought up
I
the.
want to get over to you, get your thoughts and your perspective. I'll get back to you, Jody. It's okay,
Oh, you're
buddy.
good. You're good.
All right, buddy. But I want to get Albert in here, his thoughts and perspective on all this Wilson talk as well.
So I have to comment on one of Matt's comments. Elway and Wilson don't belong in the same conversation. I disagree. They even had conversations together. So Russell and Elway had conversations together. So they do belong in the same conversation. And this is training camp. This is where you train and try things out. Brand new system for Russell Wilson because it is a Sean Payton offense. You try things out, what works and what doesn't work. Can we improve on it? So that is, and from what I have seen, we have a different Wilson than we had last year. I already have seen much more improvement, more involvement from the entire team. It looks like they are standing behind Wilson now. And yeah, this is just training. In about 6 weeks, I think we will see an offense that is going to light it up.
Yeah, and if anybody wasn't able to catch some of Sean Payton's press conferences, one of the things he even talked about is, their implementation of his scheme, his offense. Right now, they're in the basics. They're really running through, you know, basic running plays, basic passing plays. Then they're going to start getting into, some of the more of the rollouts, more of the play actions. Then they're going to start getting into some of the deeper stuff. It's going to get more and more intricate. It is very basic and simple right now, and because of that, the defense is eating. Absolutely, they're eating, and we have a defense that can eat. Everyone needs to remember that. You know, would you want Russell Wilson and company to come up here and just make the defense look terrible, look like they were just out of sorts? No, you don't want that either. And I think this might be the best time to bring in what I asked Justin Simmons and what his response was. As Justin Simmons came to the front of the line, got an opportunity. I asked Justin Simmons. I said, Justin, are you going to make it tough on the offense all training camp like this? He said, well, iron sharpens iron. It's all about that, guys. We have some of the strongest iron on the other side of the ball in the Denver Broncos defense. And everyone said that this defensive line was a big weak link if we had one on defense. And now they're talking about how that's I guess the issue that Russell Wilson and company are having at time to time is this defensive line getting into the backfield. So let's be happy that we have strong iron. It's only going to sharpen the iron that is Russell Wilson, Sean Payton, and the rest of this offensive team. We're going to see it all play out, I guess is what I'm taking of. Just to get into the chat real quick, Matt said, I'm talking in terms of playing career, playing in his career versus when he was talking about Wilson
Well,
and
when
Elway.
I brought that up, I meant nothing comparing career wise. I'm talking what Elway still has one of the best arms in the game and can move, but and Shanahan was smart enough to know that we cannot win that way having Elway do that. And they relied on their O line, Terrell Davis, and one of the best defenses in football. Go look at Elway. Alfred Williams said this perfect today. He said, if you want to get real, no one slams Elway. Go look at his numbers in Super Bowl 32. He was
Yeah.
like 12 for 23, 120 yards, one interception.
Yep. Yep, I remember that. I remember how disappointing his stat line was as we won the Super Bowl. Completely different and great reference to all those years that I watched the Broncos go to the Super Bowl and lose in sometimes the worst fashion. That was built upon the arm of Elway and the arm of Elway alone, and it only got him so far. It could never get him all the way. Could never get him all the way, and we're talking about one of the best quarterbacks ever. Just couldn't happen. Just getting caught up on the comments. Michael Ronquillo saying Russell Wilson will be fine. I think you will be fine, buddy. But I think we're going to learn and we're going to find out one way or the other, too. I think, as Albert said, these next few weeks are going to be very telling. I wish I could be here peeking in on every single day of training camp for the next few weeks, but that's not going to be the case. But I think they'll be telling them, at least by the time we start seeing preseason roll around, we'll know. We'll know how well these last few weeks have went and how well the implementation has went. So Kenny jumping in and saying, good evening, fellas. Looking forward to the show. I bet you are, Kenny. FYI, Albert, I put off an interview with Alexander Madison when I got the invite tonight. And here he is, guys. It's the great Kenny Kirkpatrick. Welcome, Kenny.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you all having me tonight. Always a pleasure.
Always
it's hard
a pleasure.
On Tuesday nights, and glad I had a Tuesday night off. And like I said, when I got the invite tonight, I had to put off Alexander's interview to next week. So.
Well, I appreciate it, man.
Just for you, Dutchie. Just for you.
What was Alexander interviewing for? The dishwashing?
Fair enough.
Wow.
Fair enough. Nice.
Shots
nice
are fired
comeback.
over here at the
I got no
DVR,
response
Kenny.
for that. I give Dutchie
cover.
Dutchie got the cover and the win.
Well, Kenny, every time I see you in the comments and a lot of the great guys over there, and the great guys I'm talking about, I try to talk up your show the best I can. I typically stumble all over myself. So I figured I could give you the opportunity before we even get to why you're even here. You plug the great K&K Sports Show.
I'll do this real quick, guys. I appreciate you allowing me to do that, Keith. K&K Sports Show, we started a couple years ago when COVID was at its peak. And Kurt Valenti, myself, Kurt's a big Bronco fan. That's how we got to meet everybody at Denver. Bronco Roundup and Rocky Mountain Sports Network. Founded the K&K Sports Show almost 3 years now. And we've been going strong. We talk all sports. We're on the East Coast, New York City area, but we talk all sports. Like I said, we got Kurt Bronco fan. We got a Detroit fan. We got Florida. We're all over. So we'll talk any sport. We'll talk anything you want to talk about. It's an audience participation show. We do that on Wednesday nights. Eastern time is 7:30. And then we also, football season, we do a little wits and wagers. That's a little self-explanatory, little sports wagering type of show. If you're interested in that, we got some handicappers on. We'll give you some tips. And then we just started, Keith and guys, we just started doing some random shows. I'm a Yankee fan. I did a Yankees show. I'm a Giants fan. I'll be doing a Giants show. Kurt, last Saturday, did a Broncos show for anybody out there interested when Denver Bronco Roundup's not on. Kurt Valenti, biggest Denver Bronco fan you'll find on the East Coast. He'll do it all. He'll tell you. You'll enjoy his commentary on the Broncos for sure. And then real quick, if you don't mind, do this in like 30 seconds or less. This goes for your audience as well, and I'm reaching out to your audience here, little Keith. Kurt, my co-host, and Jen, his wife, also do a high school sports show, and that's on Tuesday nights. They talk all about high school sports. They bring kids on. They bring coaches, etc. And what they're doing is they're gathering interns, and they got a bunch of interns for the K&K Sports Show for All In on High School Sports. A couple of the kids, high school kids, are going to be doing their own little high school uh, football show, high school volleyball show. So I'm reaching out to your audience. If you know anybody, any of you all know anybody, a high school kid that's looking for some credits in the broadcasting, looking to do some future broadcasting, it's a great cause for the kids. Reach out to us and we'll get them an internship with us, and it'll be credits towards college. So doing a good thing over there, and definitely want to spread the word out.
That's fantastic stuff, Kenny. I appreciate that, man. That's great when you can help those kids out. At the same, it's not a one-way venture. That's a great support in both ways, and really helping those kids out, bud.
And I will say, Keith, we got one of our interns, high school senior, big Met fan. We had him do a Mets show, and you would think that this kid was doing broadcasting for 20 years. That's how good he is. He's going to be doing one, I believe, tomorrow night after our K&K show. So
All
anyone who's
right, man.
interested,
We'll all have to tune in and take.
really good.
Not
But yeah,
only do
anybody who's interested, please reach out to us. Reach out to Keith, Jody, Dutchie. We'll get them. We'll set them up with an interview, and we'll get them an internship.
That sounds great, buddy. Sounds great. Great stuff you're doing over there. Appreciate it. This is our great friend, Michael Ronquillo, great supporter of the show, and he's giving you a bit of love and support, saying good evening to you, Kenny. So
Good evening, Michael. Thank you. Appreciate
yeah,
it.
and then I can only imagine who this guy is. Anybody? Any guesses, guys? There's only one.
Kurt.
That's got to be Mr. Kurt Valente there, saying, "What's up, boys?" So, what's up, Kurt? Good to see you. Thanks for jumping on the show as well. I brought you on, Kenny, because of all things, we did make a couple of transactions today from a Denver Bronco perspective. One, we did bring back a local kid, Nate Jackson, if I remember the name correct. No, that's not right. I'll have to double check the name. But local kid, wide receiver, went to Cherry Creek High School here. Went to CSU Pueblo and then went off to UNLV, and he's been kind of on and off the roster as a wide receiver. That's not the reason I'm bringing you here, because we also had one other signing, and it kind of was a shocking one for me because I thought we were pretty full in this department. But we recently just signed cornerback Fabian Moreau, who spent 11 games as a starter as a New York Giant last year. We don't know anything about Fabian Moreau. I figured I'd bring on the expert and give you a little bit of time. Educate Denver Bronco Roundup fans. Who is this guy? I heard he might even be competing for a number 2 slot in Damari Mathis, who did, in our opinion, very well last year. So tell us about this guy who's coming in and competing.
He's been in the league for a few years, Fabian. We picked him up from Washington, and so we knew him very well. Me as a Giant fan, we knew of him from his time with Washington. I'm going to try and put this in nice. Hopefully all these words come out nicely.
Okay.
For Bronco fans, I'm just going to be honest. Some of it. I think the easiest way to say Fabian Monroe is you're going to be happy at times and you're going to be angry at times and throwing things at the wall sometimes with him.
Okay.
I don't think you want him as a number 1 or number 2 guy, but he will add depth to your secondary. A veteran guy, been in the league for a while. Like I said, it's got to be almost about 10 years, I think he's been in the league. That's, pretty impressive right there. So I feel, hopefully with Sean Payton and Vance Joseph, I feel like he can contribute nickel and dime packages maybe.
Okay.
Maybe even with Mike Westhoff on special teams. But I did see some laziness from him and some of the worst tackling at times from him. So he's not a good tackler. So I don't know about the special teams if he's not a good tackler. You don't want him covering Devontae Adams. You don't want him covering Keenan Allen. But he can cover the slot guys. He can play a zone defense. I think he'll add depth. And if somebody was to go down for a couple games, I think you guys will be okay and happy with him. But if you need him for 11 and 12 games like the Giants did, I think there'll be some frustrations.
Very good, man. Appreciate that. Got a few people jumping in, so sorry, getting a little bit distracted. You know how that can be at times, buddy. So this is Roy saying Fabian, from my understanding, played in 4 games last year.
It was
Maybe
more
my
than that.
information is incorrect.
I believe it was more than that.
I believe it was more than that. Okay,
I
we'll
think I
double
seen he
check that,
started
Roy.
11
But
games.
appreciate you jumping in here.
I don't want to give
double-checking
any
lots
wrong
of different
information out,
comments.
but I think Jody's right. It was more like 10 or 11, but I don't want to give any wrong information out off the top of my head. I don't think it was 4. I think it was more.
Very good, buddy. Just to let you know, Kenny, I have no headphones because I'm down here. I forgot them. And because of that, I try to keep my volume really, really low, but every once in a while we get a little bit of a background echo. So I apologize for that, and
No
apologize
problem.
to any of our users too. I should let, or our viewers, not our users. You can use us for all the Denver Bronco information you guys want, all right? But our viewers, that'll be corrected obviously once I get back to the studio, but something that we're dealing with a little bit in the background. Do have Kenny coming in. He had one question, had nothing to do with Alexander Madison. He says, only one
Oh,
question
no, this ain't
tonight
my
for you,
question.
for
This
all
isn't
you
my
guys,
question, Keith.
including Kenny. One dream, but one realistic addition to the Broncos before week 1. All right. Why don't we start out with Albert, man? Albert, one dream, but realistic. I read that wrong. One dream, but realistic addition to the Broncos. So we're not adding like Patrick Mahomes, obviously. This has to be a realistic addition that we could obviously put together. Albert, do you have one that you would like to, a dream that you would like to add to our team?
Yeah, it's a dream, but not realistic. Probably Aaron Donald.
That would be, I mean, you'd have to probably swing for the fences. But hey, that being said, think about it this way. It might not be week 1, but if the Broncos are in a playoff run and the Rams are on that downward, outward slide, Aaron Donald's really looking at his last year. Would he be okay being dealt to a Super Bowl contending team? Possibly. So may not be completely out of the realm of possibilities. Maybe just not week 1, but I like the idea and the thought on that defensive line. Jody, what do you got, buddy?
I shouldn't laugh too hard. Who expected Von Miller to get traded? So
Yeah, that would be nice, huh? What a welcome back that would be. That would be fantastic.
I'm gonna go. I have 2 guys that, if Mike Purcell doesn't come back or is out for a while, Linval Joseph. I think that's a big guy you need that can play the 1. And if Purcell comes back, I'm gonna go a little off the radar and say Dalton Reisner is a good backup guy. I am not on board right now of getting another wide receiver. I like the guys we have in this room, and I would like to see what they can do before we go get an older vet that, a lot of them have been hurt.
Yeah.
By the way, the new receiver is Nick Williams.
Nick Williams, thank you. Man, I was like way off. I'm sorry, guys. Like I said, a lot of names bouncing through my head with trying to keep in track of a 90-man roster. Kenny, I know you're not a Broncos fan, but hey,
He wants to know.
put a good,
before
nice
week
piece
1.
on our roster if you don't mind.
Drew Lock. I'm joking, of course, because I know that question's from Kurt. I'm joking. It's a dream, but I'm going to give you a New York Giant. And it's only a dream, that's the question. A dream, but realistic because of the situation he's in. Saquon Barkley. Would be a dream. I think that would really, really make the Broncos much better than on offense than where they are right now.
Yeah, I think you're barking up the right tree, and I have a kind of a similar thought and idea. There's a guy that's not too happy that last time I heard is also not attending training camp, and boy, would it be a nice little flip, in the AFC West to bring Josh Jacobs onto the Denver Broncos roster. It's a +1, -1 all in one fell swoop. Boy, that would be a nice little addition, in my opinion. That would be my pick, and I'm not usually too good at this, but I'll be honest. you kind of gave me a little bit of a help with your pick there, Kenny. I appreciate it, buddy.
And
I was
just
coming
thought
up zeros.
I don't want to take up time, but I got one more guy. Now that we're talking about running backs, a guy
Go
that
ahead,
I thought
buddy.
you were going to go this way because he's requesting a trade. Jonathan Taylor. What would it cost the Broncos if they were to trade? Running back market's not high right now. A second round pick, can you get Jonathan Taylor?
Ooh, buddy. Ooh,
Jody,
buddy.
That's where he was. I think so.
I'm going to bring that back around the horn then. Jody, who would you take between the two?
Between Jonathan Harris and Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs and Jonathan Taylor, yeah.
As much as it pains me to say, probably Josh Jacobs.
That's fair. Albert?
Josh Jacobs for me too.
Josh Jacobs. David Slade jumping in here. Great David Slade saying Jarvis Landry. He is a Tim Patrick type of guy. Maybe including the injuries, unfortunately, as well. That's the only thing that I have concern in bringing in a Jarvis Landry as well, buddy. But I think that, yeah, he is a good possession receiver. Hey, I wanted to get to this, guys. We kind of left the show last night. One thing that I wanted to kind of keep an eye on, I tried to keep an eye on some rookies because Kenny was asking me to do so. But the one thing that I did want to keep an eye on, I kept an eye on right off the bat, just to keep everyone up to date. Tim Patrick obviously going down. Who took the majority of the reps? We were really speculating. It could be little Jordan Humphreys. It could be Marquez Callaway. It could be Jalen Virgil. But it's the one guy I didn't really name in those out of the group that we were talking about, Brandon Johnson. Brandon Johnson took over that role today, and guys, he has looked the part, man. He filled the role pretty dang well. He's aggressive in his cuts. He knows his route tree. Love his intensity that he's taken to the field because obviously that's something that Tim Patrick has had. But I think he's trying to show that he belongs in that position that Tim Patrick once held. So he had a good day at camp today just to get everyone up to speed on kind of what's going on there at Dove Valley. So, excuse me, too much talking. I did have, and this is a great Facebook user. This is actually my sister, but she's saying hello to all of you. So hello, fellows. So hello, Leanna, for anybody, because I usually don't say her name, but
hello, Leanna. Nice to meet you.
That's Leanna. That's my sister right there. So hello, sis. How you doing? Good. Thanks for jumping in here. So have the great Lance Sanderson of MHH over there saying good evening, fellas. Won't be able to watch the show tonight, but have a great show. Appreciate it, buddy. You can always catch us a little bit later. Replay it on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Just search out Rocky Mountain Sports Network. It'll get you there. You can rewatch the show anytime you like, buddy. So appreciate you jumping in and jumping in the comments too. And David Slade, just to get caught up on the comments, said, I heard that the Colts are going to place Taylor on the NFI. Yeah, there's some things going on there. It seems like anybody that has a running back that might have a contract they're not happy with or what have you is kind of getting the runaround. And I think that's the same thing that's happening with Taylor right now. Play with fire, you might get burned, So be careful what you ask for. He's a great running back. I know that he had a rough year last year, but man, he had a great year the year before, man, and really helped propel that team. So, gentlemen, where should we go next?
Can I ask a question?
Go right ahead, Kenny.
Okay, for all three of you, I'll ask Keith first. We all know Sean Payton's comments that he made about Hackett and the coaching staff. Did he break the coach's code, in your opinion, with his remarks, Keith and guys?
I would say absolutely he did. There is some things that you don't say, that are held behind closed doors. He made it a heck of an interesting week 5. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I think it went a little bit too far, and it's one thing to say Hackett, but he also said about our ownership group. He also said about our GM. So as much as everyone is making it out to be about the Jets and about Hackett and about this Week 5 matchup. Don't forget that he let it air out on everybody. He wasn't just singling out one. So I think he kind of broke the code all the way across the board. And I think ownership still having a little bit of a leash on Sean Payton may have had something to say about that walk back that he had too. So
And then we'll ask Dutchie and Jody as well.
I don't think so. There have been other coaches that have been very expressive about other coaches, and it was earlier seasons, and we didn't hear anything about it. And Hackett, because his pride is hurt, and now he's talking all of a sudden about a code. I, I think it is. The truth is there. Hackett was not a great coach for us, and he didn't do the things that he was going to say he was going to do. So if somebody held him accountable, said something about it, I think it is a good thing.
Fair enough. Jody, and I'll ask you. And sorry, I'm taking over here. I don't mean to do that.
no,
I feel
you're
like I'm
good,
on
Kenny. I
camera.
appreciate it, buddy.
He may have, but there was nothing that he said that wasn't true. After he said it, the only thing I wish he wouldn't have done is walk back his comments, stand behind him, and but he did, and I wish it would just get swept under the rug and move on from it. It's water under the bridge now.
I think that taking the comments back might have come from higher up and not from himself.
Yeah,
Looking
I
at
mean-
it from a fan who's not a Bronco fan, I think I would just add, like Jody just said, did he break the code? Yeah, I think he did. But I also think this can either, you said you're facing the Jets week 5. If you're 3-1 going into week 5, all these comments that Peyton made look like they're true. But if you're 1-3, or even worse, like 0-4, or then it's not even going to be the coaches. People are going to start looking at the players. Oh, are these players that bad? And he might have hurt the players if you get off to a bad start by his comments. And he took those comments back right away. But like Jody said, but I hope you get off to a 2-2, 3-1 start, so we don't have to worry about week 5. Is it the players? Was it the coach and staff? And you're going to get all these questions in the Denver media and going around. And if that's the case, in my opinion.
Good point, buddy. Good, fantastic point. I did want to get to one comment. We got Patrick coming in here, and I don't know if Patrick Wiltsey has ever actually graced our comment board before. So, Patrick, aloha to you. Appreciate you jumping in here, and good to have you, buddy. Talking a little Denver Broncos training camp. I'm down here in Dove Valley, and it was another great. Honestly, guys, it was a really good day overall. If I looked at what they're doing, and again what they're putting together, we talked kind of at length yesterday about the perception versus the reality in regards to is it any different versus a Hackett training camp versus a Sean Payton training camp. A lot of people are saying they can't see the difference, but like I said, the intensity is there. There was even times, and I don't mean to pick on Russ, but they were getting on Russ saying, "Hey man, you got to get out of that huddle quicker. You got to get out. You got to come on, go. It's a different intensity. It's ratcheted up. Yeah, you're not seeing like the balls just flying all over the place and all these crazy trick plays that everything. I think everyone thought Sean Payton would be bringing out in training camp and the whole 9 yards. It's easy, simple implementation of the basics of an offense that nobody has any idea about. The only people who have any idea about it is Sean Payton and the coaches that he brought with him. For everybody else, this is brand new. On the other side of the ball, we talk about the defense, and here's a defense that they even said, hey, they reverted back to the old language of last year because it's such a similar defense to what they ran last year that now that they're 100% on sync. I'll give you an example of just exactly how different offense is been compared to defense, and we'll see these catch up. the offense is out there and they're trying to do walkthroughs of their basic plays, right? They're trying to make sure that everyone understands, how deep they need to go before they do their cut. They're just walking through, they're getting it all done on one portion of the field. On the other portion of the field, the defense, who already understand their assignments, are practicing interceptions. That's the level that the defense is at already. They don't have to necessarily be focusing in on walkthroughs of the defense itself. They're already practicing interceptions and making sure that they secure the ball and the such. So, guys, it's just we're at two different levels. It'll all equal out. And as I stated before, and to quote the great Taylor Swift, y'all need to calm down. All right?
And
It's okay.
here-
It's okay.
here's another thing. How many of the first teamers in the defense are new?
Great point. Great point. We got all these new faces that we're bringing in on the offensive side of the ball, right? Whether it be the offensive line, whether we're trying to get new receivers now with Tim Patrick going down, put into place. But that defense, you have maybe Kareem Jackson who's losing his job to Caden Stearns who's been here for 2 years already. It's a very, very stable group when you start talking about that defense. Just I want to make sure that we pay tribute to our guest, and I want to just ask a question of you, Kenny.
Absolutely.
When you rank the Broncos among AFC opponents that you'd have to face as a Giant, and you can do it however you like. I don't care if you want to go 1 through 32. I don't care if you want to go top third, bottom third, middle third. Where do you place the Broncos? How scared are you of them coming to your house or you having to go to their house? Kind of give us an idea from an outsider perspective how you feel about the Broncos.
How I feel about the Broncos this year, I'll do it this. And your home field advantage is going to be your biggest, scariest thing for opponents. And if I was to come in as an opponent with the Giants, I'm putting the Broncos top 10, scariest place to play. But if Denver's coming to me, I'm putting them in the lower second tier.
All right, buddy.
So if I averaged out, I would say lower first tier, upper second tier. That's how I would put it, because I think Denver, there's things on Denver that can scare me on Denver if their defense comes around and they can get a pass rush going. I think that could be deadly with a good secondary, PS2, leading the secondary. But if Russ can be Russ, that's the question. That's the question that's stuck in everybody's head. If Russ is going to be Russ, I know Jody and Kurt are high on Russ. I know others aren't. I'm torn right in the middle. I don't know what I'm gonna see from him. You get a new coach, third coach in 3 years. That's a lot for any quarterback if you think about it. So
true,
we're gonna see, and it's gonna show me a lot if he gets off to a fast start of the quarterback he really is and was. So let's see if we can get those flashbacks. And
that's what we'd like to see,
I-
buddy. I
I-
appreciate
yeah.
the cheering us on the Broncos. It's a little bit easier when he's in the NFC team.
Right down the middle would have been the easy answer, so I had to answer it in two. Like top 10 if you're home, lower second tier if you're on the road.
If we're walking into New York. So,
Yep.
David Slade, I did want to get to this comment, maybe even rebut it just a little bit. How many new starters on offense? 2. Well, yes, we have 2 new starters on the offensive line. Of course, Tim Patrick going down. We're going to have to find another starter there. But I would also say this is 2 to 3 new starters on what ranked offense from last year. The 32nd ranked offense of last year compared to where was the defense, top 10, top 5 most of the year. Again, these guys are on much more of the same page with the defense that they had. Even if we take the starters out of the equation, this offense has got a lot of catching up to do to kind of come equal to where the defense is on this Denver Bronco football team. So,
And
Howard bottled out a little bit.
They,
Bowles missed most of the season, so that's almost like a new starter. Ben Powers, Lloyd Cushenberry was out most of the season. That's almost like a new starter again.
oh no, Cushenberry played most of the season.
Well, he was out towards the end
Oh, that's right. That's right.
when Graham Glasgow played.
And what about
Then Mike
Jafonte?
McGlinchey. So you've got a whole starting five that's never played with each other on the O line. Javonte Williams was out. Michael Burton.
That's
I mean,
true.
those guys were out all season. Now you're going to have someone that's going to replace Tim Patrick now. Adam
Alberto was
Troutman,
out all season
Albert O,
because we didn't ever want to play him.
right? Adam Troutman. So or Austin, or yeah, Adam Troutman. So I mean, there's a lot of new pieces on this O.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. Kind of a segue because I haven't mentioned it though, but guys, we are sponsored by Willow Seasonings and Blends, and Willow Seasonings and Blends is a Colorado-based seasonings, sauces, and spices company. And I'm telling you, and Kenny will tell you, Jody will tell you, Albert will tell you, it's the most fantastic seasonings and sauces you can get on the planet. And not only that, I mean, if you really, really want to make sure that you get the best deal, and I'm trying to get it here, you just head on over to willowseasonings.com, type in promo code DBR2023, get yourself an additional 15% off your purchase right now. So willowseasonings.com, they're an award-winning company. They won Blue Ribbon for their Sweet Heat, guys. That's not even my favorite, if that gives you an idea. So they're a Colorado-based company. They're a veteran-owned company. And by gosh, guys, they're a Bronco-loving company. So if that isn't enough all by itself, I don't know what would be. But I'm telling you guys, knock it out of the park. Pick up some SPG, put it in your omelet. You'll be loving your breakfast, loving the rest of your day. WillowSeasonings.com, spice up your life, guys.
And
Finally, I just want to say,
So I was just gonna say, Willow Seasons Day is gonna love this. I've been addicted to the high elevation domination lately. Well, addicted to them all, but burgers, steak, you name it. You know, little beef tips, anything with the high elevation domination. Even French fries and tater tots they work on.
yeah, goes everywhere, man. I'm
Yep.
telling you, I love it. Did want to mention though, guys, you're probably watching us right now via the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. Rocky Mountain Sports Network is our parent company, and guys, they got a lot going on over there and a lot growing too. Kind of almost like Kenny, we got a lot of people coming on to our little network over here right now. Been adding a lot of things, and they got the Blake Street Report. So anybody that's trying to keep up on the Rockies, somebody's got to be keeping up on the Rockies. The A's came to town, who are in the cellar in the AL, and they played the Rockies, who are in the cellar in the NL, and they averaged 32,000 fans in the stadium over the weekend. So, hey, someone's following and watching. Might be one of you guys out there, but they cover the Nuggets, they cover the Avalanche, they cover your beloved Broncos right here with the Denver Bronco Roundup. Check out Rocky Mountain Sports Network. You can check them out on their website. Just head on over to RockyMountainSN.com. That's RockyMountainSN.com. You can find all their stuff there. And from what I've heard, more shows coming, more podcasts coming. So watch for those as well, guys. Those should be on the way shortly. So I see some comments I need to jump in and get caught up on. So got, wow, JC Weaver's jumping in here. Appreciate it. Oh, let's start actually here. Michael Ronquillo's coming in via YouTube. I didn't see it because I'm trying to play double duty. This Saturday, DeMarcus Ware will be inducted into the Hall of Fame class 2023. Man, what a difference maker he was for this Denver Broncos team. Von Miller spoke about it at length throughout his entire career. And it makes me wonder, maybe, just maybe, we can maybe replicate that a little bit with a little bit of Frank Clark coming over from the Kansas City Chiefs. We also did it with Neil Smith back in the day as well. So, but congratulations to DeMarcus Ware, just a stand-up guy for the Denver Broncos. And, boy, well-deserved. Congratulations to to Demarcus Ware. That's all more I can say, I guess, at this point. And then we got J.C. Weaver coming in here saying, "Sup, fellers? Who do you think will be the big body presence left behind with Timmy's injury? Julio? Boy, we kind of talked a little bit about this last night. JC, my thought was we're going to wait until those cut downs. We're going to be looking at those 32 other teams if we do anything outside of our own locker room. Go around the horn really quick. Albert, what do you think?
I think we will stay with where we are. Brandon Johnson might get the chance that he is looking for.
Jody, what are your thoughts, buddy?
No, that's the guy I'm high on, Brandon Johnson.
Right guy to be high on. I think he called it last night, and then he goes out and he shows out today. So hopefully he continues. Kenny, where do you think we would land on this? Do you think we stay internally, or do you think we need to take a look at an external candidate at some point?
I think you take a shot at an external candidate, a guy that's got had a great past with Detroit and a terrible with the Giants, and that's take a shot, Kenny Galladay. Because if you can get that form back that he had in Detroit,
Okay.
You're going to have something there. So that would be the guy I would go after. And if he doesn't pan out, you release him.
I like that.
That's a simple solution there, I think.
Kenny Galladay is one of those intriguing pieces just because of how well he was in Detroit and how much he just kind of seemed to stumble in New York. So, man, if there's, as we kind of talked about, as Sean Payton came to Denver, if there's a guy that can kind of revive Russ and get him right on the right track again, it could be Sean Payton. That could be also the case for Kenny Galladay as well, that kind of never really got back on track like everyone expected him. Even I expected him to be in New York. So, and then got Patrick coming in, kind of commenting on one of the things we were talking about a little bit earlier about that offense and the defense and the new starters and how they're leveling up against each other. He says maybe not so many new offensive people as a new mindset and lingo and to just adjust and master. And yeah, that's exactly right. I appreciate that, Patrick. Well, gentlemen, I feel like we're almost wrapped up. I know that we went through a lot of different things. I want to go back around the horn and see if you guys have anything to add to the show before we get out of here. We'll start with our fantastic guest from the K&K Sports Show, Mr. Kenny Kirkpatrick. Anything that you think we need to talk about before we get out of here, Kenny, or anything you want to say before we get out?
I think you nailed it. How many more days are you at training camp for, Keith?
That's a good question. So had to talk to the wife the other night, or just today, I think it was. Tell her I made a little mistake. I had myself booked so that I could be watching training camp on Wednesday, training camp on Thursday, and I'll be leaving on Friday. There is no training camp on Thursday, guys. Wednesday, and then they get a break, and then they come back on Friday. So I'm going to be leaving a day early. I'll be watching training camp tomorrow, and then be heading back to Montana on Thursday. So that's that. Yeah, so many things juggling and trying to see if I could even make it down here at the last minute. I made a little error, so I'll be leaving a day early, guys. Jody, what do you got, buddy?
Just keeping level-headed with what you see from Russ. Don't read too much into it. Offensive line can't do everything they need to. Can't chop. They're not double teaming. So take it with a grain of salt. And I still have high hopes for Russ this year.
Love it, buddy. Appreciate it, bud. Albert?
I have a two-part question for Kenny.
Nice.
Okay. So who do you think will be a surprise player for the Giants and for the Broncos this year?
For the Giants, I'll do the easier one first because that's the team I follow. See the Giant hat right there. That's our rookie wide receiver that we picked up in the third round, Jalen Hyatt from Tennessee. I'm hearing good things about him at training camp. So it's a position that I feel somebody can step up and jump into a role and be contributing. So I think he can be a definite sneaky sleeper for the Giants. For the Broncos, I'm going to go running back and a guy you picked up in free agency, and that's Samaje Perine. I'm big on these running backs that catch the ball out of the backfield. Dutchy, and he's one of them. He's got like that Austin Eckler type, so it's like receiver first, running back second. And I think in this type of offense, I think you guys are going to be happy with Samaje Perine. So I'm going to go Perine's going to be a nice little sleeper pickup there for the Broncos, and you guys are going to be very happy with him this year.
Awesome.
Thanks for that question, Jeff.
I got a question for Keith real quick.
Just really quick, I just want to get a last minute answer to Albert's question really quick, and that's coming in from the great Sis. He's saying Jerry Judy is all you need to know. That's coming from Sis. That's your breakout player right there, buddy. And I think you might have some real prognostication there. Jerry Judy is going to be a big piece and probably could break out big in this offense. So, Jody, back over to you, sir.
No, I just had a quick question. What have you seen from Javonte Williams, and how was he look coming off this injury so far? I mean, all reports is it doesn't look like he's coming off an injury.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've been doing is I've been taking some great video, and I've been sharing it in the background with some of our guys here at the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. I don't dare put it out there since it's not allowed by any media outlet. I don't want to be the only guy that's breaking rank there. But my goodness, Javonte today, and I shared this video behind the scenes. Once again, just looking fantastic. Catching a ball out in the flank, turning it upfield, cutting on his either knee. You can't even tell which knee he blew out at this point. He's cutting on both legs just great. Receiving contact, getting kind of pushed off balance, landing just fine, continuing with his run. It's amazing. It's phenomenal. It's like I'm watching, as a little kid, watching the $6 Million Man once again out on the field playing football. It's nothing short of miraculous. So, guys, I hope the trend continues, as Sean Payton kind of spoke about in his post presser. They are taking a little bit easy. He's not getting every single number one rep because they want to make sure that he doesn't push it too hard, too fast. And they have him here for the year. But as of right now, man, I see him being our RB1 first snap for a big play, quite honestly, for game one. That's just the way it's looking. It could definitely be that way. Good question, Jody. I appreciate it, man. There's a lot of things happening at training camp, a lot of things to watch with the 90 different guys on 2 different fields. But Javonte is one of those pieces that is key here for our Broncos. Shouldn't be overlooked and has been looking fantastic. So, gentlemen, with that, man, we're going to end this show almost directly on time. It's amazing. Almost an hour on the dot. Used to never happen. We've been really good as of lately. So appreciate everybody. Obviously, Albert and Jody, my regular co-hosts, for jumping in here. The great Kenny Kirkpatrick from the K&K Sports Show, and everybody that joined us as well. Thank you, Kenny, so much for jumping in, especially last moment, getting us all up to speed on some Giants guys.
Appreciate you guys having me. Nice little bond and family we've all grown here. So anytime, and just glad I could be part of it tonight.
Absolutely, buddy. Well, like I said, we appreciate every time we're able to have you on the show. It seems like it's been forever, but we need to have you on as often as possible, buddy. So let me know when you're available, especially when we get into the thick of it, the NFL season. Love to have you on here. So, guys, we're going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate everyone who joined us tonight. Again, thank you to the Rocky Mountain Sports Network for bringing us to you. Thank you to Willis Seasonings and Blends, our fantastic sponsor. And I think my final thought was going to be just like we started, guys. Don't worry. Just need to calm down. Good night, everyone.